Hello and welcome to another What's Up Wednesday. So I'm Amy, and every Wednesday I'm coming live and I am answering some of our clients' questions of the week. So this week's question is a great one, and it is all about why can't I relax or soften? What am I doing wrong? So, first off, the number one thing that I want to share with you is you aren't doing anything wrong. There are many factors involved with why we aren't able to relax or soften, and they are included both our mind and our body. It's not just a physical thing, it also is a mind aspect. So, our bodies store a lifetime of injury, a lifetime of hurt and trauma, and it's all stored within our fascial system. And so when we have this inability to relax or soften, this lifetime of injury and trauma, it shows up as continual holding and bracing within the body, which basically gives us an inability to let go, to surrender, and to relax into life, or just whether we're doing myofascial self-care. So what we've found over the years is it is critical to not only address the physical body, but you want to start to address the mind and the spiritual components of healing. When we start to do this, it really starts to allow our bodies to heal fully and let go of that chronic bracing that we're holding on to. So for those of you that don't know what this term softening is, it's something that I use very regularly when I'm teaching myofascial self-care techniques to my clients. So it is the second step that is involved when we're doing any type of myofascial self-care technique. Our first one is always a check-in of the intensity, and then we start to get into softening into the technique or onto a tool. And I go into much more detail in this in our inner awareness class. But some of the benefits of softening would be it helps our body to start to let go of tension. It starts to let go of some of that holding and some of that bracing. And as we're going into a myofascial self-care technique, it starts to let us start to sink through those layers, being able to find where those restrictions are within our bodies. So anytime that you're doing in any type of myofascial self-care technique, some of the ways that you can set yourself up for success to be able to soften successfully is the first one. I'm going to give you 5 tips, but the first one is committing that time to you. Commit that time with no distractions. So this means turning off technology, finding a quiet room, and really just committing that time to you. The second one is then becoming fully present. This is really critical if we have a lot of things going on throughout the day and our mind is racing. It's not going to give us the ability to be able to soften and to be able to relax. So becoming fully present into what you're doing is really important. So ways that you can do this are start by taking a few deep breaths, starting to quiet that mind, letting go of any of the worries or any of the to-do tasks that you have just for that moment. And then you're going to start to bring your awareness into your body. And the easiest way to do this is we teach people how to do this with their breath. Now, for many of you, becoming fully present is going to be one of the most challenging things to do because maybe your mind feels like it's always racing. Maybe you have to worry about going to pick up your child from school or something like that. So your mind is constantly racing. We call this monkeys on the brain. So when we have these monkeys on the brain and these thoughts are constantly coming in and we can't quiet our mind, all I want you to do is start to simply acknowledge that that thought came in. And just as simply as it came in, just ask yourself, you know what, I'm going to go back and I'm going to be present and aware of my body. And again, the breath is one of the easiest ways to do this. Bring that breath into the area that you're trying to bring that awareness to. And the third tip that I have for being successful to help you soften is check that intensity. The intensity when we're first starting out shouldn't be more than maybe a 3 out of 10. If it's more than that and we're having medium to more significant discomfort, it's going to limit our ability to be able to soften and relax into that tool or technique. So we want to start out less. don't go to that most hard, tender area when you're doing self-care. Again, it limits that ability for you to be able to be successful and soften. So start maybe above or below that area. Try a little bit of a different area that isn't so intense. And, just a tip is usually those areas that are really intense, it's not usually where the cause is coming from. So choose the opposite area or choose above or below and try that. The fourth tip is to not push. We as a society are in a thought process of no pain, no gain. I have to push through and it has to hurt in order for me to get better. This just isn't true. Um, Pushing just leads to force, it leads to bracing, it leads to tension. And when we're learning how to soften, it's all about surrendering. It's all about how heavy can I get and how much can I sink into what I'm doing. We never want to push into a tool. Softening technique is really more of a passive technique. It's not actively pushing into something. So passive in meaning I'm starting to just surrender and let go. And the fifth one is use props as needed. If when you get on a tool or you're doing a technique, maybe you're feeling your neck is compressed or pinched, that neck is going to need a little bit of support. So give it a little bit of support. If you're feeling a pinch or compression on the low back, bend those knees, give a little support underneath those knees so that takes that tension off the back. If you're feeling those pinching and those sensations, your body isn't going to be able to soften into the technique either. So these are the 5 tips that I recommend for anyone when they're having difficulty quieting that mind, softening into any of the techniques. Now, as always, we want you to be getting results when you're doing your myofascial self-care. So if you have questions, reach out via email or share your comments below, and we'll be happy to answer them in one of our upcoming What's Up Wednesdays. Thank you for tuning in, everyone, and I'll see you next Wednesday for our next question of the week.